One of Bungie's original co-founders is making a dungeon game inside Fortnite. Yes, you heard me right. Alex Seropian, who was the co-founder of Bungie with Jason Jones, who's still a part of Bungie, I think one of the last original members of the company, has now been working on this game right here. A Bungie founder announced a co-op and competitive endless dungeon runner in Fortnite. Interesting. What do you do when you still want to make video games but don't want to walk across the salted earth hellscape that is trying to find investor funding? Well, if you're Alex Seropian, one of the original co-founders of Bungie, you make a game in Fortnite. Huh? If you don't know, he actually left Bungie very early on. It was around 2002, just as they were purchased by Microsoft. It might have been a part of that deal. And so he left a long time ago. He has not been a part of anything Destiny related, Destiny 2 or Destiny 1, but he certainly would have been a part of Halo in its early developmental years, and he would have been a part of Marathon, the original Marathon, not the one that's we're about to get. The game is called Dungeonauts, a cooperative and competitive roguelike RPG that lets teams of players delve a procedurally generated endless dungeon to fight waves of enemies, battle powerful bosses, and collect gobs of loot. Nice. The game offers 3 different classes and a progression system tied to unlocking higher and harder ranks of dungeons, along with a gold mine activity, additional quests, a 4-person PvP arena, and 6 different mission types. That's crazy that this man is out here co-founded Bungie, right? Left, and now he's making sub games within Fortnite. Meanwhile, Pete Parsons driving around with a freaking Maserati. According to a press release from Stropian and his studio Look North World, Dungeonauts started as a passion project that he worked on during weekends that ultimately ballooned into the release that's available on the Fortnite UGC platform now. I love the RPG genre, the classic fantasy settings, player progression, and different damage and reward systems. He's quoted as saying, "I wanted to bring that experience to the new generation of players in Fortnite. Honestly, we're not sure whether we should be impressed or depressed." Oh no. Hey, listen, he's happy about it. If he's stoked for this, all right, let's not shit on his passion project. Clearly, he's enjoying what he's working on. I feel like we don't want to roast that too much. I think that the part that's only a little bit depressing is, the prestige of Bungie and everything. And then I don't know if it's necessarily feels like a downfall, but it's like, making a freaking game inside Fortnite, not as impressive, right? Or it doesn't have that allure as Halo and stuff like that, of course. Fortnite obviously has a reputation of being a very soulless game. And I don't hate Fortnite by any means, but, it just doesn't have the best reputation. The comments say, "How the mighty have fallen." Someone said, "Nothing mighty about him. The only popular game he's got on his resume is the first Halo game. He was president of the company then, so he didn't even work on it, and then he left afterwards." I mean, working on the first Halo game is still very impressive. He obviously would have worked on Marathon, which, you can hate on the current edition, but the original Marathon I don't think had as much controversy, at least as far as I know, and I guess Ganop as well. I saw the headline, and I just had to click and log in just to comment vomiting emojis. Rough, dude. As it turns out, you can be simultaneously impressed and depressed, like being on uppers and downers. Oh no. Oh no. A few companies are making big money with games for Fortnite and Roblox. If you can do it and get pushed by the platform, then it's much better than making a game for Steam or console. This is interesting. Do you actually think that this is a new standard of building games within these games? I know that some people have like custom maps in Fortnite and they make like tons of money. So I know it's like there's a lucrative market for it. Obviously, when you have, multi-billion-dollar parent company and then this game that's generating all this revenue, there's obviously going to trickle down to a certain degree. With Fortnite, you're also building on the gameplay of Fortnite, which has pretty solid, if uninspiring, combat. And Dungeonauts is doing exactly that, taking the basic combat of Fortnite, adding some twists on top, and giving it a different gameplay structure for progression. Solid idea. Looks like good execution will probably appeal to the Fortnite crowd for a few weeks and make bank, then be forgotten. Personally, would rather have something wholly original, but I've never been a big fan of Fortnite gameplay. And then they say, yeah, this isn't going to make me suddenly reinstall EGS to boot open Fortnite again after being burned like crazy on the original game, now named Save the World. It makes sense for Epic to break away from the BR fad because it was never going to last. But gee, if only they had a PvE game they could update and flesh out. He's very salty about Save the World. Let me know what you think about this down in the comment section below. Former Bungie co-founder, now making a sub game within Fortnite.